Hey everyone, today is Thursday, the 27th of January 2022. This is The Gap, episode 599. I'm Luke Lawrie. Joab Gilroy is here. Shorter podcast this week, Joab, I think. Got a small feeling about this one.
Well, yeah, it seems likely. I mean, especially compared to like last week's,
4 hours we
which
clocked
was
in at.
ridiculous. Yeah, much more to the shorter, smaller, shorter
Yeah.
this week. Which is okay. It's all good.
It's because we've not played anything.
It's still high quality. It's about quality, not quantity. And I know our entire backlog of podcasts may have made, outside viewers think we're all quantity, not quality. But actually, it's all good. Just sometimes you get more quality.
Yeah. And it's the story progression as well. Like when you started episode 1, and it just like keeps getting, better and better. But you have to start at 1. You can't start like...
You can't jump in mid
500. No.
Doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't work.
And part of that adventure is finding episode 1. Episodes 1 through about like 17.
And if you do find it, let us know.
Please let us know.
No, I've actually got that one.
The search continues.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I do have that one. I've got 2. Yep. And then we've talked about this before. And then it goes to somewhere around about like, I've got, I don't know. There's 3 and 4, and then I'm missing 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then I've got 10 to 50, and then there's a bit of a space.
Right.
I have to check our file server because I don't have them on my computer, but because like I've been moving them off my computer at some stage to our file server,
right?
Because like I don't need like 400 gigabytes worth of podcasts on my computer.
I suppose not. Not with that attitude.
No, because you never know. One day, when aliens come and they're like, we want to listen to the best podcast in the world.
Yeah.
It's there on the server. So
they can't find the Australian Gamer podcast. Bingo bango. They've got the Gap. Which is what we always intended for this to be.
Yeah. For aliens.
A straight up rip-off of the Australian Gamer podcast for aliens. Boomed them. We boomed them. Fuck you, Matt and Yug, you fucking slackers. Just if they've got anything, if they want to refute this, feel free to release a podcast to counter what I just said. Yeah. Good luck. Anyway, video games. We should start, I reckon, with Rainbow Six Extraction because it's how it ended last week. Right?
Okay.
There's a symmetry to that. It's like poetry, it rhymes.
Yeah. Continuing from last week's story.
Exactly. The arc links up. Played some Rainbow Six Extraction late last week. Ooh. And yeah, we were playing, like you and me were playing. We were playing with JB. I played with some randos. The game actually came out. Oh yeah. Well, he wasn't doing what he was supposed to be doing.
Right.
Like playing, yes.
He was there.
Completing objectives, no. Failing objectives, definitely. Constantly, repeatedly. In a way that almost seems on purpose.
He sent us a screenshot of like in the Gap channel of like what happens now that everybody's dead or gone MIA, and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah, I can believe that.
I'm not surprised at all. I'm not surprised at all. I get the feeling the game doesn't breadcrumb new players very well. Like maybe, like. I don't know. I didn't feel like I ever had any real trouble understanding what I needed to do except for triangulation in Rainbow Six. So
right.
If you are jumping in late, like a lunatic, Rainbow Six Extraction is a PvE 3 versus AI special forces operators versus aliens shooter from Ubisoft. It uses the Rainbow Six Siege engine. I find it quite fun to play, but it's not hyper compelling, which is probably its biggest fault. It doesn't drag me back in constantly. Or more, if I had like a more specific criticism, it's that I don't want to play it with people that I don't know.
Right.
And so you got to convince people to play it with you. And there's been a game that's just been easier to convince people to play at the moment. So it's one of those things, right? Like,
yeah,
it's easier to lure people in to play PUBG than it is to lure them in to play Extraction. And so I just wind up. It's also that if there's only two of you, PUBG's still good. But if there's only two of you, Rainbow Six Extraction doesn't really work because you got to have a fucking rando. So
you don't have to. You can still play with two people.
You can, but it's
I mean, we never had any problems. It was harder, I felt like, when we had three people.
Well, that's because one of them was JB. JB, just I could not understand. Like I was flabbergasted. I was flabbergasted. He was like a mission failure machine. I've never seen anyone fail missions with such alacrity and precision. He was like some sort of robot designed to fail missions in Rainbow Six Extraction. And I'm not being facetious.
We were in like a Ryan Reynolds film, and we were the serious commandos going in, cleaning up the aliens, and he was like the goofy third character that's there for the comedy.
Although, instead of Ryan Reynolds, substitute in like Charlie Chaplin or something like. and yeah, like, you know, still with the quips, still good quips. So Charlie Chaplin, maybe not such a good one, like good sub, but you know, someone with good bands, fucking Eddie Murphy or something, like not in 24 Hours, but in Beverly Hills Cop or something, you know, like.
Yeah.
I'm fucking Judge Reinhold.
Is Beverly Hills Cop 3 bad?
I don't.
I've not seen it in a long time, but I remember I used to like it.
Yeah,
I used to watch it a lot, but I don't think it's good.
It a lot.
Yeah, like
just
out of the three,
or did you watch the other two?
No, like out of three, I used to watch 3 a lot.
You were just like, I've seen. I don't need the fucking setup.
Yeah,
just get me to the conclusion of the trilogy, the grand epic finale of this momentous trilogy that is the Beverly Hills Cop.
It's
series.
On my watch list to watch again.
Of course it is. We should have a Beverly Hills Day, like Predator Day,
right?
Where we just watch all the Beverly Hills movies.
Yeah, and then finish up with 90210.
90210.
Yeah.
How? Because of the number progression. That is so awful. That is so awful. Anyway. So, it just like inexplicably, because like some of the ways that he was failing his missions, I could not fucking understand. But like, I do think that maybe the game doesn't do a very good job of like breadcrumbing new players. And maybe I knew what to do because when I first played it, it was in a preview. And when you do a preview, you get all these like assets, right? You get like, oh, here's the how to play guide. And it doesn't walk you through every single little bit.
Yeah.
But it does sort of like outlay everything for you. And if you only do the tutorial in Rainbow Six Extraction, when I did my preview playthrough, we didn't have the tutorial.
Mm-hmm.
We skipped straight through that shit, but there are VR missions. I did them all in the review build. The review build actually comes with a guide that walks you through everything as well. Yeah, there's one of those. It's one of those things where I think maybe because triangulation still got me right. That one I actually understand how Johnny Bravo managed to fuck that one up, because you find the thing in Rainbow Six Extraction, each mission, each time you go into a zone, it randomly selects 3 missions and plonks the objectives around the map, randomly selects enemies for you to fight. depending on the difficulty you're on, and then it sort of throws you into it to complete the missions. Triangulation is one where you've got to hit 3 different stations all at once, or basically inside of 60 seconds. You got to hit them all. So you hit Station A, Station B, Station C in order inside of 60 seconds. And the very easiest way to do it is to have one operator on all 3.
Yeah, or just scout the entire floor and find them all.
That's the second easiest way to do it, is to know where the fuck you have to go next before you start the first station. And the absolute 100% guaranteed way to fail it is when you find Station A, hit the fucking button and then sprint for Station B, wherever the fuck it is. Because it does actually show up. Once Station A has been activated, it will tell you where Station B is. But if you haven't scouted it out beforehand, there's a very, very strong chance that Station B is in the middle of 7 billion nasties. And it's not going to be a good time. It's not going to be an easy fucking thing to achieve. So that one I get. The other one that he managed to fail real quick was the nests one, which I actually we failed in the preview session quite a bit. It's tricky. Once the nests are alerted, they can't be unalerted. And you've got to sneak up on the nests and then tag them with these tracker things. Prior to doing the nests mission, I had explained to JB that you have to kill the nests to stop enemies from spawning. So I sort of understand, in some ways, his gung-ho attempts to murder every fucking nest he saw was the correct fucking lesson learned, but it specifically did not apply to that mission and caused us to fail it. The other one, we failed the rescue mission. That one's a bit rough on old JB. That one's pretty easy to fail if the circumstances can converge against you. In our case, JB, he sort of fired indiscriminately, and one of his rounds, because I was droning out at the time, and I'd found the operator was supposed to rescue, one of his rounds penoed a wall and triggered the aliens inside the hostage room, and they blapped the hostage. So that one we failed. I could see, it's still his fault, but I could see anyone could fail that one. It was just the way that he managed to fail them all so quickly, so repeatedly, so often. It was interesting.
Yeah.
And what was the other one? Oh, no, he just barely missed. Just barely avoided failing the trap the elite monster. Because I told him to go and get ready to trap the elite monster, and then he went and hit the trap, and we had to lure we then had 20 seconds to lure the fucking monster in. And shit, it was close. It was close. We were on the precipice of failure on that one. But we managed to get the elite monster in at the last second, which was actually pretty high stakes.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, yeah, it was, I was having fun. It was just weird to see it from a different perspective, from the perspective of, and what I also liked is on Discord, as JB learned what to do, he got to see the other side of it. Right, because on Discord he was like, you can't play with randos. Oh, you can't play this game with randos. As soon as you work out that they're no good, you just fucking extract and get the fuck out of there, because they're no good. It's just everyone in this game is an idiot. And it was like, oh, all right, so that's JB. That's what it was like playing with you. You were our rando, right? Except that you're not a random. And I like you as a person. but you're the worst Rainbow Six operator I've ever seen in my life. That's all it is. That's all it is. If you were in charge of special forces, the aliens would win, JB, is all I'm saying. Anyway, yeah, I was having fun. It does. I I don't think they've released an update yet, but they have to. I honestly think they have to hit the panic button and change the fucking XP gain on it. Because I am still not quite. It's not 20 hours, but I'm still not quite a high enough level to do everything in the game, and that's fucking crazy, man.
Yeah.
Like,
and the fact that like each individual operator also has their own XP as well, and I've got a rotation of like 4 operators that I use at the moment, and that's it.
Yeah, and then Maelstrom Protocol, it's a selection of 6 operators. And so there's a chance, right, especially if you rotate through a couple of different operators, like as a team, like I take Lion and you take Finker and JB brings Rook, right? And then the next mission, when all of those people are fucking injured, we just sort of slot over one, and I take Finker and JB takes Lion and you take Rook, and then the next mission I take Rook, etc., right? What winds up happening is if only Lion and Finker are in the fucking Maelstrom Protocol, then whoever was taking Rook and has got Rook to level 10, but he's not available in the Maelstrom Protocol, has to take some fucking level 1 or 2 or whatever they've fucking managed to eke out. Which feels just completely unnecessary. The way the meta game of Rainbow Six Extraction is probably its biggest fault, but I understand why they've done it that way. Like, they need some sort of incentive to get you to play different characters and stuff. And there is a bit of like, in my mind, I'm like, oh yeah, well, why would you ever play such and such, right? Like, for example, when I played in the preview, it seemed like Vigil was garbage, right? Because at level 1, he is garbage, right? But you get him to even just level 3, and his invisibility lasts a bit longer, and he's got a little bit more like damage suppression because he's in light armor as it is, and they take a fuck ton of damage. Yeah, if you do just to level 3, he turns into somewhat like those fucking nest missions. Once Vigil's at like level 5, if you get the nest mission, you just send Vigil in to do that shit because he can just invisible up and go fucking tap them all. You and the other person jump on drones and find fucking nests for Vigil to go fucking do. And yeah, there's this I guess immediate understanding that some operators don't have a lot of utility. That turns out to be untrue once they are leveled up to a point where they're fucking useful.
Mm-hmm.
But that just means you got to play them when they're not useful for a bit. Like, you just got to fucking eat a bit of shit for a while. And that kind of sucks. That's not fantastic. And that's one of the things that they could alleviate if they change the fucking XP gain. But yeah, I honestly think they have to do something about it sooner rather than later, because that's the biggest thing that's holding it back, really. In my opinion, that's why it's going to bleed numbers, because people aren't able to get to the fucking good part without waiting through a bunch of shit, right? And it's, I don't know, it's 2022. People don't want to wade through a bunch of shit before they can get to the good stuff.
Yeah,
it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, it's not a free to play game. Like,
yeah,
which is weird.
Yeah, it's constructed like a free to play game, and if you got fucking Game Pass, then you've already paid for it. You've already paid money for it. So, like, I don't know. I feel like you could immediately fall into the trap of treating it like a free to play game, but it's not. It's flat out not a free to play game, and so that's a problem. Yeah, they got to do something about it to recognize to show that they recognize that it's not a free to play game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if the solution there is something like as you're leveling up operators, you get some sort of XP pack that you can apply to another operator without like having to play them, so you can still level them up, or like I don't know, something like that. Because otherwise you fall into this trap of just being like, well, I'm leveling up these sort of small group of operators, and they're, you know, so far in front of all the others. Why would I take the other ones on these missions when they're, I'm running around with this one who has got faster reload speed and sprinting and all this other stuff that sort of comes as they unlock more perks for their character. It's just like starting back at square one with, as you're further into the game. Or you can go back to the start of the game and just start grinding again. And I think that's where there's a bit of a problem.
You're also not able to really handle higher difficulties with level 1 operators, because you don't have the damage mitigation that your main operators have. Like by the time you get to Truth or Consequences, which is I think level 12, like overall level 12 or whatever it is, like that, the default difficulty is the hardest difficulty. And you should have probably like at least one level 10 operator, unless you've been spreading yourself out, in which case, like, fucking good on you. But most people probably have one level 10 operator and one like level 8 or 9 operator as well. And you need that operator. You need that high level to actually function in that difficulty, because you're going up against the Apexes and the Tormentors and like loads of them. And they take a bit more damage unless you're hitting their weak spot and all this kind of shit. Like, there's mutations, the nests are sometimes armored, or the sprawl damages you when you walk on it and shit like that. And you really fucking need to manage that shit pretty hardcore. Any mistake on a level 1 and you're downed. And so, they got to do something in that regard, I think. I think a pack to, just cheat ahead 3 levels. Like, I don't think you do it so that you could just entirely level a character up. You shouldn't be able, I don't think you should be able to go all the way to level 10 with like XP packs or something. But like, to skip through the first fucking levels so you don't have to go back all the way down to the lowest difficulty, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, like some sort of XP boost pack or something like that you can apply to them and be like, all right, I can take them into this mission and just get more XP.
Yes. Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you want to talk about on Rainbow, or is that it?
I don't think so. I'm keen to check it out more, but like I said, it's a case of like it's one of those games where you gotta get people in. You cannot play it alone, and it's so much easier to get people into something else at the moment. So
right, I haven't been playing a whole lot. I played God of War. I'm still sort of, I reinstalled it on my PlayStation, and just loaded up my save from when I talked about it last time. I think it was sometime last year. I can't remember when. Might have been September, I think, somewhere around about then. And yeah, man, I spent a couple of hours the other day playing through. I'm like halfway through that game. I'll probably continue to get through it. I sort of want to play the whole thing until to be prepared for Ragnarok, which is supposedly out this year, end of this year. Sure. I think that game's like done.
Really?
Wow. Yeah. And so I've been playing that. Yeah, it's such an excellent game. I've also seen like other people playing on PC at the moment because they've done that big PC release, and it just kind of got me like, oh yeah, I just want to jump back in. Sit on the the big TV with the HDR and sit there and play at 60 frames at checkerboard 4K, but still 4K. Yeah, and that it plays really well. Pretty easy to jump back in and just remember the buttons, just looking at the controls, being like, all right, yeah, heavy attack, light attack, dodge, that sort of thing. It's not a complicated game. Some of the other stuff to try and get your head around is there's a few combo systems in there. You're just looking at them, trying to figure them out again. But for the most part, like, it's pretty, within half an hour, I was back into the swing of things again. So, yeah, I'm just having fun again. It's an excellent game. If people haven't played it, you don't have a PlayStation. It's on PC. I've heard the port is really good. Stuff that I've watched looks really good from it. And so absolutely recommend people check that out if they haven't yet. It's one of the best games of the last generation on PlayStation. It just does really good things with story, gameplay, and sort of bringing that old character up to a different aspect of his life. Like, it's an entirely different game if you played like God of War 3. It's such a different tone. It's a different gameplay style. Like, everything
it's
about
like
it is
the Dark
different.
Knight to Batman, right? Like,
yeah,
it's like Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns to Batman.
I mean, like sure, but Michael Keaton's Batman wasn't goofy, right?
No, I'm sort of like comics, not like Nolan's.
Right, sorry. Okay, I thought you were talking about the film, like comparing. Yeah, anyway, I get you. Yeah, it's a darker toned story, a more grounded story.
Mature, grounded. Yeah. It's good.
So yeah, I'm just really excited for that next game to come out, and just looking for something to play at the moment that I could sort of sit down and, because over the break I was playing like Cyberpunk, and I spent a shitload of 30 hours or something during the break playing Cyberpunk. I didn't talk about it last week because we've talked about it a bunch. And that was really cool to play, and I've been just looking for other things to sort of jump back into and just sit down every once in a while and check out. And God of War seemed like that perfect time to sort of knock something out before the craziness starts, like next week or whenever things start releasing. So
it's coming.
Yeah, it's coming. So yeah, if you haven't played it, check it out. It's on. I'm pretty sure God of War is also PlayStation Plus, like one of those classic games that you can sort of just fire it up. So if you've got PlayStation Plus, they have a collection of their classic hits or whatever. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong, but I think it's one of those like bundled in there that you can sort of just play it. So if you've got that, absolutely check it out. And if you've got a PlayStation 5, I feel like more people probably have a PlayStation 5 with maybe a HDR TV than they would a computer that has a HDR on it monitor, because the HDR monitors just aren't that. There are monitors out there that do it, they're just not that great in terms of brightness and all that sort of thing. So I don't know. I'd probably recommend the PlayStation version over the PC version if you can sort of pick PlayStation 5 version at least. So yeah, anyway, there you go. God of War. It's excellent. What else do we have here? Black Mesa.
I'm still playing Black Mesa.
Yep.
It's interesting how much of Half-Life I'd forgotten. But Half-Life turns into a bit of a fucking slog way before Zen. I think maybe part of what makes Zen so unpalatable is that you're like, I know as I'm remembering playing through this game, I remember how done I was with parts of this shit.
Right.
By the time I got to it, like it reaches a point where it's just obtuse, right? Like there's obscurity and then there's obtuseness, and I think Half-Life's level design reaches a point where, in order to create a degree of challenge, they delve into obtuseness, where what they're really doing is obfuscating what you're supposed to do on purpose to sort of like in order to elongate the experience. It doesn't feel like it's no longer good or clever level design. It turns into just sort of right. Yeah. I remember, like, this all landed on me when I reached the fucking. I don't know how well you remember Half-Life, right? Because it's been fucking 20 years, 24 years, nearly 25 years. But there's a part in it that involves a fuck ton of treadmills. Conveyor belts. Conveyor belts is probably a better name for them. And yeah, I remember getting to this bit and just being like, right, yes, right, this bit is dumb, and I know there's a fucking weird bit here. There's like a trick to this shit, but I can't quite remember the trick, and I just have to try to fucking remember it. That's basically it. That's the juice of an entire section is, oh yeah, something annoying happens here. And so I reached the conveyor belt room, and yeah, just sort of had to fucking, like, it just sort of came crashing back into me. I'm like, this is like, Zen wasn't good, and I still haven't reached Zen, by the way. But Zen wasn't good. But what made it not work was the fact that the lead up to it was just some of the shittiest parts of the game. Right? So it sort of sets you off, sets you in, like, to feel,
Yeah.
I don't know, like, frustrated from the outset. Like, it sets you up to not want to play more.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically the case of the last part of Black Mesa, because it's not 1-1, but it's very close to being exactly like fucking Half-Life. And I don't know, it's just interesting remembering this shit, because I'm just fucking done at this point. Yeah, I don't know, it's weird because I'm still having fun, and it's got me feeling real nostalgic. Like, I think the next game I'm going to try and check out might be like Arx Fatalis. I know there's a mod that makes it like play well on modern computers and stuff. So and like at the same, like, as annoying as I find these levels, I guess the other thing is that it's still like phenomenal, the work that they did on, like, in Black Mesa. They made these levels bigger, like they widened out the loading rooms, and you can also see how Half-Life was revolutionary as well, because like these levels loop into one another on themselves and all this kind of shit, and you're like, wow, okay. But so there's a lot of nostalgia and a lot of fucking, like, yeah, awesome, but it's just mixed with this annoyance at the tedium, I guess.
Yep.
But yeah, still going through it. Yeah, I can't imagine playing this game on hard. Oh, it would be just like, at the point that I'm at, it would be so much more tedious. I'm so glad that that I'm just fucking blasting through it. But yeah, anyway, I'm on a mad nostalgia trip at the moment. So yeah. Anyway,
Next up will be
Black
Doom.
Mesa. Oh, you reckon? I was playing a Doom mod a little while ago.
All right.
But I have not. I don't. Yeah, did I talk about it? I can't remember. It was like a World War II Doom mod.
I can't remember.
Hmm.
Maybe. All right, that's Black Mesa. It's on Steam. You can check that out on PC. Next up, we got Hitman VR. This is the brand new update that's come out on PC, at least, for the trilogy. 1 year after the release, the PlayStation exclusive, they've now dropped a bunch of new content for it. They've done a roadmap for year 2, what's happening in year 2. But they updated and added in their VR support for this. And had a chance to check it out. Both of us played a little bit of it. I got to say, a little bit disappointing.
Underwhelming.
Yeah, it's very bare bones in terms of what it's doing, especially when you look at all the other content that's sort of on the VR that you can look and have some sort of benchmark as to like how other games have done things in the past. Some of the standout things for me were there's no like room scale in this build, so your body is sort of so when you set up VR, right, at least on PC, you've got a space that you should be inside of. So in my room, for instance, it's, I don't know how big this room is. Say it's like 10 feet by 10 feet, right? And that is my box. And I draw my box on the ground and I say,
3
this
meters
is
by 3 meters in not nonsense measurements.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. Yeah. So you like draw a box around you to say, this is my play area. And this is where I want the game to recognize, where I'm at. And when you get into, so like my Oculus Rift S, if I'm walking around my room, I have a headset on, I can't really see where I am. But if I get close to my boundary that I've drawn, it will bring up like a virtual room. I'll be able to see my boundary, and it'll let me know like, hey, you're about to walk into a wall, or you're near your computer type thing. And so it allows you to move around a little bit in this space, which you can use in tons of games. You're not just sort of moving your head around. You can walk around a little bit and sort of reorientate yourself in certain directions, and at least like, take a step forward and lean and look under the desk and grab something, or things like that. Hitman VR doesn't do that. You are basically a static body in the middle of wherever it plonks you, and your head is the person basically. And so whenever you move your body, you're moving your head, and you get in this weird situation where if you've moved too far forward or too far back, your head starts to sort of like stretch a little bit, and you can start to see your body. You start to leave your body a bit, and that becomes a little bit disorientating. So you've got to use your actual controllers to move around in the game. And so I switched it to there's like a snap movement. There's a bunch of different ways they use movement in VR games to make people feel more comfortable. I don't use the snap movement. I use the smoother one where I can move around and that sort of thing. That's how I played a bunch of other VR games. Yep. And so you sort of just get into this weird spot where you'll be walking around and your head is sort of floating away from your body a little bit, and you've got to like reorientate yourself or center yourself. You can do that by like double clicking the button. It'll just sort of move your position back to where you are standing. But that thing I found that a little bit off-putting when I was playing. I don't know. Did you find that at all?
No, because I don't do room scale VR by default. I do I don't know, standing room only already by default. So I there is like some games still allow you to move around in the space like properly, even if you are standing only. Like, what's an example? Boneworks is a good example of a game that allows you to move around, even if you're only doing standing only. I don't really have enough space. I do have, an office that has space in it, but it's cluttered with shit. So, kind of keep to where I am. I did notice that if you move around in Hitman, it sort of, you stretch out. But like I said, I'm already in a position where my default VR experience is stand in the middle of the fucking room.
Yeah.
Don't swing your arms too much because you hit the bottles of whiskey, and that's how it goes.
Yeah.
So I didn't have too much of a problem with that.
It felt like a game where you don't even need to be standing. You just sit because it's not taking into that technology into account. So you can do that. The other thing that sort of was a bit off-putting is the actual graphics quality in the game is quite low. I think the default setting is called like base setting, and there is one higher that you can move it to. And even that is like not great. It's so like I kind of wanted to get into this game and be like standing in the middle of that first room in Dubai, or like being in Dubai, this giant hotel, right? The thing that VR does so well is the sense of scale, making you feel like you're in these locations. And I didn't get that from this game just because the graphic settings were just so pixelated. And so being in that, being in the hallway, the staircase when you start in Dubai and just looking around and being like, I'm not really feeling this. Like, because all the people were really like jaggedy and things like that. And I just wish there was a setting to be like, all right, well, your computer can handle this. Let's like really jack this thing up and make it a lot sharper. And it just doesn't. And so I think you lose a bit of that sort of sense of putting you in this world because you're like, oh yeah, this is a video game type thing. So that was a little bit disappointing. And then the third thing that really brought it out to me was when I was doing the training missions in VR, which I've done these training missions so many times in these games. It's all because they're always the same training mission. This one is now in VR. Walking around and the part where I got to, the training mission is on the boat, right? And I got to the part where you get onto the boat and I'm like mingling with people, and I walked over to the bartender and there are all these bottles on the on his bar, and I tried to pick up one of the bottles and it wouldn't let me, and I was like, oh, that is just so like immersion breaking because I just want to pick shit up, and that completely like pulled me out of it again, because we've just played so many games where you can just pick up like everything and interact with stuff and just throw things around, and you can absolutely pick up certain things in the game, but they're all things that are interactable inside of Hitman. And so like, just not being able to touch things was kind of, it pulls you out of it and just felt weird.
It's an underwhelming port, but I didn't have high expectations because I'd seen the PlayStation VR version in action. So I sort of knew what was coming. I knew it wasn't Hitman 3 in VR. Right. It was a scaled back version of it. I didn't expect it to be as low res as it wound up being. Like you said, the graphics quality is reduced. It is basically just they've managed to get the PSVR version working on PC, and that's it. So yeah, I don't have I had fun with it, but I went in there with adjusted expectations already. I knew what I was getting into. I think if you went in expecting Hitman in VR, the Hitman 3 experience in VR, you might have been in for a bit of a sad surprise. I had fun with it. I don't know. I didn't like the tutorial mission because if it's I don't know. Well, I definitely think it's not built for the original Vive, right? It straight up says the original Vive controllers aren't supported.
Right. Why is that? Is it missing a button or something?
Yeah, it's missing a button, and so like there's a bunch of stuff that like it's pretty finicky. The way that you move, you've got your left and right controllers, right? The way you move is by pressing up on the left pad.
Yeah.
And the way you select or change weapons is, I think, and this is another problem, is that I couldn't find a fucking control scheme anywhere, but I think, based on experimentation, is by double clicking up on the left thumb pad. Right. I believe it's missing like a direction or something.
How many buttons you got on there? Like, is there grip. 2 buttons?
There's a grip. There's the menu button at the top. There's the Vive button, which is it can't be used.
Yeah.
By games. I just turned on my controller. It's going to turn on VR. This is going to fuck everything up.
Not yet.
Not yet. Not yet.
As long as the recording VR
before it does it. As long as I can still hear you and I can see Audacity is doing stuff. Okay.
You're in the meta world now.
I'm through the looking glass. It doesn't have that many. It's got the grip.
So you don't have the 2 buttons on there.
2 buttons,
like X and Y, like a
no.
Right, that's your problem. Yeah.
I got a grip. I got a trigger. I got the D-pad.
Yeah.
And you can click the D-pad, and so it does a bunch of stuff that's context sensitive with the D-pad.
Yeah, I can click that. So you're missing you can't really see it. See 2 buttons?
Yeah, I don't have 2 buttons there. Yeah. So you got to do a bunch of stuff that's contextually based off the D-pad, and it's like left and right, and right is like how you get through menus and shit and all this kind of stuff. And so to sprint, you have to hold left grip and press up. But if you notice that you're not fucking sprinting and you try to do it again, but you try to do it too fast, it registers as a double click, and then it'll bring up the weapon menu. And then if you dismiss that quickly, you'll just select a weapon. And if you're trying to run past some guards, and then you select a weapon and you draw a weapon while you're standing next to some fucking guards and you're not sprinting, even though you're trying to, then all that's going to happen is they're going to be very upset with you because you've just drawn a weapon.
Yeah.
And there's no auto save or anything like that. So you got to remember to fucking save constantly. And so it just turned that mission into a bit of a tedious mess. But it did have a lot of fun on the train mission, which is the worst level in the Hitman trilogy. It is the worst level in all of the games. Just absolutely nothing Hitman-esque about it. Reminds me of Hitman Absolution. Just a terrible fucking mission. Not a lot of experimentation. It's a long fucking corridor where you just murder everyone. But it's pretty good for fucking VR because, it's just about trying to murder everyone. And you've got limited ammo and, you just sort of fucking move through and get your kills and try to stealth, and that's about it. And, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Luke, you were talking about how you like to slap everyone, but slapping doesn't knock people out.
No, so I walked around the boat and just started slapping people, which is great. Because I don't know if you can do it in Hitman. I can't remember.
I don't know either. That's a good question.
I think it's just punching people, right?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think they're slapping.
I would just walk up and slap people in the face or like touch them, and sometimes they'd be a bit annoyed, like it'd have the question mark above them, like, hey, what are you doing? And other times, like, you keep sort of poking them and they get upset and they get alerted. But yeah, just walk around and slap people in the face. It was great. Enjoyed it. Isn't that what you do in VR usually? Like, you just walk around and slap people?
That's actually not what I do.
Oh, that's weird.
I don't do a lot of that. Yeah.
So yeah, that was good. I judge my VR games by how well you can slap people and how many bottles you can pick up.
But
what the
yeah,
bottles
bottles
are
and
like.
slapping. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why you really liked Boneworks, because that's a slap happy bottle picking up fucking Fiesta.
Yeah.
It seems like the designers on Boneworks, like,
They listened.
literally designed, that was the core pillar of their design. They were like, 2 pillars, slapping, picking up bottles. Let's
That's all
build
you
a
need.
game around that. That's those are our pillars. I
Yeah.
don't know. Other games are like story. God of War's like story, combat, exploration. It's no slapping.
Yeah, no
No bottle
slapping.
picking up.
No.
Yeah.
0 out of 10. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, like it's it does the Hitman game in VR. It just doesn't do it that great. It's fine. Um, but I hope they release some sort of update, some sort of patch to be like, all right, here's another level above the graphical setting that really fire it up and take advantage of some of that hardware if you've got it, and tinker around with things because there's really like you can't even sort of go in there and be like, I want to change the texture settings or anything like that. It's kind of just like press the button and off it goes. It's like, cool, here we go, fire it up. So yeah, a bit disappointing, but otherwise, it's Hitman. So there you go. Okay, we've got 2 more games here. One of them is a game that you forgot from last week that I remembered.
Good.
I'd seen you playing it, and then I was like, oh, we didn't talk about this. It is Supraland 6 Inches Under, which it's not really a sequel. It's more like it's like a spin-off version where Supraland was sort of made by, or designed by one person, right?
Made by one guy.
Got super successful. Supraland got super successful.
Successful.
And they ended up bringing on a bunch of other people on board in order to get them familiar with the tools that were used to make the original game. They sort of had like a game jam type thing and got them to make some stuff, and it turned out this stuff was really interesting and cool, so they turned it into a game, a fully fledged game. And this is what has been released. I haven't played any of it, but I saw you playing it. Do you want to talk about like what Supraland is?
Yeah, so if you're not familiar with Supraland, yeah, one guy made it. And it is a first-person puzzle platformer with some light combats. Not really a lot of combats. I wouldn't play it for the combats. But it's sort of like a Metroidvania type game where you're rolling around. You're this little dude. I believe you're the Red Prince, and you roll around this world, trying to make it so that the Blue Kingdom are cool with the Red Kingdom, and I guess the key conceit of it is that it all takes place inside like a sandbox, and so it's all very Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Once you realize what's going on, like you can sometimes look up and you'll see this dead-eyed kid who's fucking the size of Galactus hovering over the top of you, reaching for some shit. And things are made out of like stuff you'd find in the sandbox. There's like a giant sand bucket, or some fucking toys, some Lego bricks and shit all over the place. And that's sort of, yeah, the whole world is based in your shrunk down version. And 6 Inches Under sort of takes that and runs with it, like takes the concept and runs with it. You are the blue plumber this time, and it's more Supraland, not as much Supraland, I don't think. I played way more. I played like 30 hours of Supraland, and I finished 6 Inches Under in 10 hours. So nowhere near as much Supraland. But yeah, basically the same concept But as Luke said, they scaled up. So the first game was made by one guy, and you know this because when the game ends, that one guy sings a weird German song while the credits play, and the credits are literally him listing every role and his name underneath it. So yeah, when the credits roll on 6 Inches Under, it's not the case. There are a bunch of different names.
Yeah, and they're all scaled up.
I don't know if they are all singing. I wasn't paying that much attention. But yeah, basically they did a Kickstarter for Supraland 2 and scaled up as a result of the success of that Kickstarter. And yeah, this was basically practice work to get them into the mindset to make a Supraland game. Obviously, I'm a fan of Supralands. I backed the Supraland 2 Kickstarter. I'm not thrilled that this was $29, which is what Supraland costs. If you haven't played Supraland, I would highly recommend that over this, because this just feels like a cover band version of Supraland. It feels like and not even not even as good, not even as long, or as there's some what made Supraland so work so fucking well is that there was outside of a couple of puzzles, there was a real consistency throughout it. Like, you always had the tools you required when you arrived somewhere, or if you didn't, it was very obvious. If you didn't have the tools you required to solve a puzzle, it was very obvious that you didn't have those tools yet, and you would come back. Whereas here, one of the ways they've gotten around not having those things, not necessarily having all the tools, is just having a radio that tells you don't yet have the fucking tools required, which feels like a cop-out to me and doesn't really work for me. There's quite a bit of content after you roll credits, but I just found that I wound up beating the final boss, and I was like, wait, is that it? It's over. Which is a bit disappointing. I continued to play afterwards to try to find some more stuff, but I just didn't care all that much. And yeah, which is a bit disappointing. I would get this one on sale, whereas I would pay full price for Supraland.
Yep.
It's not Supraland 2, flat out. They say it on their Kickstarter updates, that they're still in the planning phase for Kickstarter 2, which is, I found disappointing, even Supraland more disappointing. 2. Hey?
You said Kickstarter 2.
Kickstarter 2. Supraland 2. Yeah, even more disappointing because fucking it was supposed to be out.
Yeah.
Supraland 2 was supposed to be out in June last year. And now they're saying they haven't even fucking started work on it. It's feeling very classic Kickstarter, really. Oh, okay, so I paid for this fucking thing. Cool. And now it turns out they haven't even started work on it, and they've made this other thing, and they're selling this other thing, this completely different other thing. Awesome. Just feels shitty. It feels super shitty. And they should have seen that coming. Yeah. So that's disappointing. If this is some sort of fucking experiment to get the team up to scratch on making a Supraland game, then fucking Kickstarter backers should not have had to fucking pay for it at the very least. But I don't know that anyone should have paid for it. Like, if they had the money to scale up their team, then release, or at least release it as heavily discounted, considering it took me less time to finish this than it did I suppose probably 10 hours of my Supraland playthrough are from the first DLC, so it took me as long to finish this as the DLC. It's just annoying, disappointing.
All right, fair enough. I haven't checked it out. I thought I'd wait and see what you thought before I jumped in. All right, so that's Supraland 6 Inches Under. You can grab that on Steam as well.
Yeah.
Lastly, we got one left, and it hasn't been uninstalled, Job. It is PUBG.
It came fucking close. I'll tell you what. It came real close a couple of times. But it is PUBG, and it remains on my PC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've spent so much time the last week playing PUBG.
Me too.
Yeah, you've spent way more than me, I think.
Probably. Probably. Does it tell you? Is there like some way to see how long you've spent recently?
I know when I go to the page, it tells me when other people have played recently. So like,
yeah. Yes,
if I look at your name, it's not there. So I have no idea.
Wunderbar. Excellent. It says Luke 29.6 hours played recently.
I don't know why you're not there. Why aren't you on this list?
You've unfriended me on Steam, I guess.
Are you not on Steam at the moment or something?
I'm on Steam.
You're on Steam.
I am on Steam.
Weird. I don't know.
Maybe I've privated that shit.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, you're not in this list. All right, there you go. 20 hours recently.
29 hours.
29
recently. Is that like the last 2 weeks? I guess
2 weeks. Yeah.
Right. But anyway, so yeah, been playing more PUBG. Been playing a lot of PUBG. Got some good wins. Had some very frustrating losses. Yeah. I like every now and then I will get a big fucking kick in the fucking pants reminder of why I stopped playing PUBG. But I think if I break down the biggest reason I stopped playing PUBG, it was hackers. And then not able to get an Aussie server.
Yeah.
And then
not being able to get an Aussie server was one of the main ones because we were playing in Southeast Asia with 100 and something ping.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that was the biggest one.
Didn't want to do that. So yeah, but hackers was the reason that the OC servers like died out in the first place.
I haven't seen one yet since we've played.
Yes, you have. You definitely have. You're just not able to recognize fucking hackers, Luke. You're not able to fucking tell when someone's fucking hacking.
You think everyone's hacking?
I absolutely do not. I have seen so many fucking hackers in my life that I am able to recognize both the fucking obvious hackers and the very subtle hackers. I'm very capable of this thing. You are like, well, if they're not aimbotting, they're not hacking. There's one type of hack in Luke's mind, and it's aimbotting. And if they're not aimbotting, nobody's hacking. He's just like, no, it makes sense that person supernaturally knew exactly where I was and tracked me through the fucking dirt and then shot me as soon as I poked my head up. That's fine. They didn't lock on when they shot me. There was recoil and they missed a couple of shots, so they're not hacking. But anyway, so definitely been hackers, not loads. I've literally seen people get removed mid-match, which is promising, a positive thing. But yeah, it was like the key thing that made me stop playing. Hackers, having to play on SEA servers. And then after that, it was the myriad weird design choices that the PUBG Corp kept making while updating the game. The bad map design and weird additions that sort of divorced it from the original intention that the game set out to be, that I just didn't like. So every now and then I'll see a hacker, and that reminds me of that. I have not had fucking any SEA servers, so that's fine. But I do wind up on Sandhawk more often than I'd like, which is I don't ever want to play Sandhawk. And I did have a game. I'll tell you, I got to tell you about this fucking game. Holy shitballs, this game on Tago, which is the map that I played last year when they introduced the respawn effort.
Yeah.
They got to fix. They got to. It's inexplicable to me that they have not fixed respawning or coming back into the game. It should not be a single map thing. It should not be executed the way it is in Tago. That's ridiculous. Apex nailed it. Apex had a good swing at it, and Warzone nailed it. Nailed the concept of bringing players back into the game. They fucking killed it when they brought out the gulag and the fucking buybacks.
System. Yeah,
it's fantastic, right? It keeps players invested for the rest of the fucking game. But Tago has it. I tried it out when it first came out, and I wound up quitting because Tago exhibits some of the flawed map design that Sandhawk sort of underscored to me, which is just flat areas with zero cover, where your only option is to have picked up smokes earlier or just fucking die, right? Not hope they're not looking your way, just fucking die, right? It's basically a big stretch of fucking land where the game designers are like, you fucking dunce. You didn't fucking pick up more smoke. You only picked up 3 smokes, you stupid piece of shit. You really needed that extra fucking energy drink instead of the fucking 4th smoke? You fucking moron. Well, die then. Die, cunt. And that's what happens. You fucking run out on a beach and you fucking die. Because, woo, that's it. Or the other thing is, like, they've done so much to fix Erangel's problems, right? Between the fucking islands. Where if you can get trapped on one island or the other, and you just sort of fucked. But Tago, no, it's just sort of a design philosophy. So this game, right? It's me, it's Dr. E3 Money, it's Zeopatra, and it is Grey Squirrel. And we're all teamed up. We're all playing together in a squad. We land in Hosan, because of course we fucking do. Because anytime I pick where we're landing and when we're on Tago, I'm picking Hosan. So that's where we're going, right? And if nobody's going to pick a spot, then we're going to Hosan. I like Hosan. It's got good fights. It's got good loots. It's got good stuff. Anyway, we land on Hosan, but we're late. And this other team lands just before us. And these dudes, I recognize their names. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I recognize their names. And you see them like in the final circles a lot. And they're a pretty good team. And they're doing well. They've been doing well for a while. Clearly played a lot. They've all got fucking those player cards that say they're level 500. Yeah. I've played the game for 1,100 hours, and I'm at level 190 or something. So, if it's a linear progression system, right? If the levels are linear, if you earn XP for whatever this leveling system is linearly, then they have played at least 2,700 hours of this game. So that's a lot. They've played a lot of this game. Anyway, we managed to get into some buildings, but we're a bit split up, which is never ideal. They land earlier to try to get weapons to shoot us out of the sky, and that might be our only saving grace. Is that it splits them up as well. They're not all on top of one another, and it gives us a bit of an opportunity to loot. So I loot up. Squirrel loots up. Drew is getting jumped. Zeo is trying to cover Drew, and Zeo gets downed. Now, one of the things that happens, and one of these 4 dudes gets downed, and one of the things that's happening here, right, is that Zeo and Drew are downed, but they're not out, right? DBNO, right? So that's different, right? Usually what you see a lot of is people will just fucking blap immediately. right? They'll down you, and then they'll immediately secure the finish if they're able to. Philosophically speaking, I do not like that style of play. I think, right, if it's the first fucking fight, right, just leave them to get back up. There's no way they've got the self AED, so just leave them to get back up. If their team wins the firefight, then do it to it.
Yeah.
Right?
They've also changed that mechanic a little bit. I think they've given players more damage reduction, and there might be like invulnerability frames or something to stop you from just continuing to shoot the player, because it takes a lot more damage to kill someone now when they're down to when the game, first came out. We played it for that first 2 years, because you can just like literally just hold the button down and finish them pretty quickly.
Yeah, exactly. So you're not encouraged to thirst players all the way down, which I agree with personally. I think is a good thing. And Zio has a real problem with the thirst play. She hates it when they go ham and finish players off who are downed mid match. Thank you. She hates it. And what happens is Squirrel's down someone, Zio and Drew are down, and Zio remarks, she's like, "Oh, wow, they didn't finish us off. That's really cool." Something like that. I don't remember the fucking exact words. I'm not a transcription machine. As soon as she says that, Grey Squirrel turns and murders the dude that's downed on their team. Like, giggles, audibly giggles, and just fucking blaps this dude. And naturally, what happens next is they turn and shoot Zio and Drew. They finish them off. And once one of them finishes Zio and says over all voice, says, "Tell your mates to not fucking flush." Again, maybe not verbatim, but that is essentially the message, right? They're annoyed because Squirrel literally just did what they weren't doing. They were like, everyone was cool in this situation, and Squirrel just fucking shits his pants laughing while he fucking ruins everything, right? Absolute dick move. Anyway, so it's Tago. So they go to the fucking respawn island. It's actually not that bad. As long as our entire team lives, it's not that big a deal. Which is, I guess, maybe a mitigating factor. But now it's me and Squirrel versus 3 of these dudes. And we actually managed to dismantle them. We don't get all 4 of them. That's the tricky part. Because they managed to go to... So if you get all 4 of them before they go to Respawn Island, that's it. They're gone. They're out of the game. It's not that big a deal. If one of them's still alive, everyone who is on Respawn Island gets to actually get a chance to come back. We don't manage to get the 4th guy. When they realize that we're actually fucking doing them, that they're actually outmatched by these level 100 dudes, they one of them just piss bolts, which I think is probably the smart play. And as far as I can tell, based on what I saw on the kill feed, I never went back and watched the replay, but as far as I can tell, based on what I saw in the kill feed, all 4 of them made it back into the game off the Respawn Island. On our end, only Zio makes it back in. Drew and Zio are spawned on opposite sides of Respawn Island, and they aren't able to come to team up, which is always challenging. And if you don't make it off Respawn Island, that's it. You're out of the game, which is disappointing. Me and Squirrel and I, holy fuck, one of these things. So they land behind us. You come back in from Respawn Island with whatever you picked up on Respawn Island. They land behind us. We're running into the circle. Fucking Squirrel. If Johnny Bravo is a Rainbow Six Extraction mission failure machine, right? Grey Squirrel is on some sort of fucking any percentage speed run to get me to uninstall this game. That has to be what's going on, right? So first of all, he unnecessarily pops the fucking finish, and then while we're running through an open fucking field, getting shot at, getting sniped,
yeah,
I'm like, we're running to a truck. He stops and turns to start fucking shooting back in the middle of the fucking field. We're running to a fucking truck. Holy shit. I'm like, where the fuck are you? Get in the fucking truck. I'm getting shot in the truck. I have to hop out of the truck and run around the fucking truck because he's fucking 50 meters behind me. He hasn't been running to the fucking truck. He's like, oh, I thought I'd shoot them. I'm like, motherfucker, why? Why would you fucking shoot them? We get in the truck and we fucking leave. We're in the middle of a fucking field. Like, they've got trees and shit. They're on a mountain. They have the high ground. We can't win. Get the fuck out of here. Nah. Anyway, he finally gets to the truck. Somehow they haven't popped the wheels on this truck. So we managed to get out. Trucks drive like shit in Tago. They're not like utes or something. They're these fucking, those weird, I don't know if you've ever seen the electric delivery truck that they've invented for China, but they're a nightmare. They're holy shit. They look like a regular like truck, like a flat nose truck, but like scaled down so that they're tiny, like the smart car version of a fucking semi trailer or some shit. Like ridiculous. Anyway, we're in this thing. It's fucking terrible. We're still under fire, obviously. We managed to get to this house somehow, right? Just barely. Zio, right? She doesn't land anywhere near us, but gets in a car and like fucking rolls. Apparently, I wasn't watching her fucking screen because I was busy with my own shit. But according to the commentary from Dr. E3 Money, right, Zio is like doing fucking barrel rolls the entire way. She must have like a wheel out or some shit, but apparently she hits every jump and flips the car like 6 times on her way over. Manages to get to us somehow. We've got a great position, right? We're on this map on Tago. The way the map's set out, it could go either way. There's like this giant body of water between where we are and where the like circle is. It's sort of centered with this giant body of water just south of, let me bring up a map, just south of where's the fucking huts? Just south of Yongcheon. And we can get to this fucking this bridge on the right-hand side. But otherwise, yeah, the circle, giant body of water between us and the other continent. We just have to pray the circle centers over our side. Naturally, it centers over the other side, basically centers on Palace. And so we have to get out of the little compound, the shithole compound we're in. We have to make our way over to the other fucking continent. And the way Tago was made is there's like a beach, a single beach, and the rest of it's cliff faces. But otherwise, it's this single beach that people can walk up. And the beach itself is about fucking 80 meters of wide open space, completely flat, wide open space where people will just fucking die. And then the cliff face is basically a shortcut way to fucking die on a fucking cliff because you can't climb up over the circle. Which is exactly what I was talking about. The shitty fucking map design. Just like, I understand. Oh, but it's realistic. Like, nobody gives a fuck, right? Nobody wants to die in the fucking water because they can't climb can't scale a cliff. That's fucking idiotic. It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, so knowing that our two options are a beach where everyone will be looking and murdering us, or trying to get over to the one bridge that exists, I'm like, okay, we've got to leave. Let's go. And I then said that for the next, I don't know, 2.5 minutes while Zio and Grey Squirrel attempted to snipe people who were behind us, right? And every like 15 seconds or so, I'd be like, okay, that's it. Now we have to go. We really have to go. We had to get over this bridge. And they'd be like, yeah. Okay, yeah. And then they start shooting behind us again. And then obviously the circle started coming in. So the circle starts coming in. We can't go. We can't go onto the fucking bridge anymore. It's done. That option is gone. And a new option is to drive a car into the fucking water and maybe scale the cliff, right? Zio and Drew both believe there's a chance that you can climb this cliff somehow. So that's it. That's our new plan, right? It's not like the other 40 cunts on our side of the fucking water aren't also going to be trying to do the same thing. So we're going to be climbing cliff while fighting. Don't worry about that. It's fine. We're going to do this. We drive. We're in the car. We're driving across these fucking fields, right? And this is verbatim. Okay? Because this has been seared into my brain. We're driving across these fields. And Grey Squirrel says, what does F do? And then he like cuts himself off from saying do. And then he goes, oh. Because he's thrown himself from a fucking moving car while the blue is chasing us. My gut instinct is sadly the protection of my teammates. So I hit the brakes, and I should not have hit the brakes. I should have just fucking left him. I should have left him. If I was going to do anything, what I should have done is turn around and run him fucking over. But I should have at least left him. Instead, I hit the brakes. It's a mistake. We get shot up by this this player who's hanging out near the road for whatever reason. I don't know why. He's not in the circle.
He's waiting for people to jump out of the car.
Hey?
He's just waiting for people to jump out of a car.
That's it. He's like, I've got one chance. Someone, for some reason, throws themselves from a fucking car, and I can steal that car. That's my one chance. My path to victory is very narrow, but I know what it is, and I will go for it. So anyway, he gets Zio, unfortunately. I get him. I can't get Zio up because the blue's here. And so my new option is, our car's all fucked up. So my new option is to, run into the water. It doesn't work out. It doesn't work out for me. Because the beach is fucking 16 kilometers of flat sand with no cover. And so, I die. And I was legit. I went like, that was my last game for the night. And I was going to uninstall. I was like, that's it. I think I'm done with PUBG again.
That's not the game's fault, though. That's Gavin's fault.
That is Squirrel's fault. Which is the only reason why I didn't uninstall it. That's the only reason, because I'm like, okay, I'm being unfair to PUBG. That one's not PUBG's fault. I'll go back in. I'll give it another chance. Maybe it will be better.
And then you get sent off. Like, all right. We're done.
Fucking, I'll tell you what though. Squirrel's defense for pressing F, right, was his keyboard's too sensitive, right? But that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't matter how sensitive your keyboard is. Don't press F. Just never press F. Like, don't even lightly brush F.
Well, why is he halfway pressing F?
Right? You know? Oh my God. Well, you know, I had to be ready. I half actuate all of my keys at all times, just in case I need to do something.
Yeah, I need to open a door or something. I don't know.
Motherfucker. Anyway. So that was the closest I came to uninstalling it. That was very upsetting. Yeah. I've like, you know what I like? Do you know what keeps me coming back to PUBG? The unspoken communication. right? Because I've noticed that the in-game communication is still kind of shit. Like in my mind, what's supposed to happen is how it works in Warzone, right? When I press the fucking ping button, whatever I pinged will ping, right?
Yeah.
But what happens in PUBG is about 50% of the time it doesn't actually ping, and I have said nothing, and so I've got to fucking say, like literally say everything, and that's been an adjustment that I have not been doing very well. Like an adjustment I haven't been making as well as I should have, but yeah. Like in my mind, I'm like, but I fucking pinged it. And then I look on the fucking map and my ping's like, I don't know, 16 fucking kilometers away the last time I pinged something.
Yeah, you ping like a tree and it's like somewhere else.
Yeah, or like a level 2 helmet that I pinged back in fucking Musa. I'm like, oh, right. So I didn't ping. Good. So I didn't say anything at all. And that's good. That's good. That's great. That's great. But I've noticed how you and I, right, do these wordless like flanks where we both know what the other one is about to do. And that's cool. That is cool as shit. Because when we were playing fucking duos, like I don't know if we said much of anything most of the times throughout our games. We just fucking did shit. It was good.
Yeah,
it was fun.
I mean, I play a different style to like. I don't like sitting in a fucking window.
Yeah,
and looking out of a window, especially if we're in a compound. Like I'll sit outside of it because it's just like you instantly give somebody a like it's like a window. It's literally a window to shoot
window.
through. Yeah. And so like it's so much easier for someone else to shoot you out of a window than it is for you to shoot somebody else that's out there who is in this giant area that could be behind any tree or like looking out. And so I don't like that stuff. And you know, especially like if someone says someone's over here but you can't see it because you're in a fucking window. And so I like to sit outside of it, and then when we get into an area I like to flank around and do all that sort of stuff. But I just play a bit more aggressive. Like when people get knocked and we don't move, that fucking pisses me off. It's like,
oh, I know. Yeah,
all of a sudden it's 4-on-3 or it's 4-on-2. You've knocked two people, but nobody moves, and it's just like, all right, why are we like? We should be like moving around and trying to finish. And then we were playing a game the other day, and it might have been yesterday. We were in Roshawk, and we knocked these guys like 4 or 5 fucking times, and they were knocking. They just kept constantly knocking me out because I had nothing on me, and I was just trying to get info, and nobody moved. I'm like, just like fucking flank them or something, and we all end up dying because they just kept reviving themselves.
That was frustrating. Yeah. Because I had a shotgun, and not the DBS shotgun, which apparently has range of 8,000 kilometers, some sort of beyond visual range shotgun. No, I had the old pump action. It just wasn't. I wasn't able to fucking pull it out because I was standing next to you. But yeah, we just couldn't fucking get the shift going enough because we had them outnumbered. Like at the end, there was only one of them fucking left. That was frustrating.
Yeah. But we played a bunch yesterday. Like I'm definitely feeling like I'm getting back to working out how the guns work, at least with the ARs. I'm feeling a lot better with ARs. Snipers I'm struggling with still a lot. I've sort of switched to like M24s or Kar 98s at this point. And even like there were shots yesterday, last night when we were playing, I just like easy shots that I would just miss. I just whiff it so badly. But we played yesterday, and like a lot of yesterday, and like most of our games were in like top 5, I'd say, like most of them. And you compare that to like where we were 2 weeks ago when we sort of first jumped in, and like every couple of games we were like getting knocked out straight away or something like that. Like at least we're getting back to a point or we can win fights at the start of the game.
Winning 50-50s and stuff, like, yeah, that's what it is. I now back myself to actually win a gunfight that started at the same time. Whereas last week, nah, probably not. Probably not. I would not. If I started if me and a dude faced each other in a fucking hallway, I'd be like, well, I'm dead. But it's no longer that way. I'm actually winning those fights now, which is good.
Yeah. Once I start getting to a point where I'm getting kills again properly, consistently,
yeah,
I think things will change. We'll get back to where we were, but yeah, like a lot of top sort of 5 finishes yesterday, which has been good. Like slowly getting there. And the thing is, like, you're seeing a lot of the same people still playing, and so
yeah,
like some fights we've taken and we've won against people that are really good. So we're like making good decisions sometimes, and other times just fucking terrible decisions. Like, I don't know what we're doing.
Yep.
Anyway, so yeah, played a shitload of that the last week. It's been fun getting back in there. At least servers are popping, which is good.
I'm making a video. I was making a video before we did this podcast. That that I find very amusing. I don't know if it's gonna pan out as amusing as I find it, but basically you can if you double tap F next to a downed character, you can pick them up.
Yeah,
and it's fucking incredible. It's incredible. Me and Heath were both running around. Like, we had a fight on Sandhawk, landed on like Camp Bravo, I think it was, and down 2 of them, and me and Heath just picked the dudes up. And you can't ADS while you're doing this, but you can sort of like bullets hit them before they hit you.
Yeah.
The pan, which has like an arc and does damage in the arc, will hurt you if they pan you. But if they shoot you, it will hit the person before it hits you. And so you've got sort of this fucking body shield that you're running around with, carrying this person. It's got to be disoriented. I've never been picked up, but yeah, it's got to be disoriented. Yeah. So yeah, we were running around with these human shields, which was pretty good. But yeah, yesterday on Tago, Heath gets knocked, and like he's free. Like they should have been able to finish him easy. And it turns out there were 2 teams, and they were both racing to get the kill on him. One of them knocked him, and the others were trying to get the fucking finish so they could snake the kill. And they both started firing at basically the exact same time. And I was hiding in this like fucking crevice, and I managed to pick him up and save him, like out of nowhere. It was fucking magical. So I'm making a video around me being Heath's hero.
Yeah. The thing I like about that is the fact that you can just pick up enemies as well. And so you could actually just steal a player.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like weird. Like there's not a lot you can do with it, but the idea that is in there, and you could be like run off with another player's team member and sort of even interrogate them or something.
Right? Like we were trying to like ask them where their teammates were, because there were like we downed 3 of these dudes in Camp Bravo, and like picked them up and were like, "Where's the 4th? Where's the 4th?"
Yeah, like if you could put them in a car, that'd be amazing.
Holy shit.
Like you knock a guy, someone comes in with the car, you pick them up and you put them in the car and just leave. And you're like, and you take him to like a house where you can interrogate them. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's pretty good. Anyway, anything else you want to add about PUBG in here? Been talking about it for a while.
I don't think so. Yeah, I can see. Like, I mean, I get the feeling like it's coming, right? The uninstall is coming. I'm still having fun. I'm having
You
fun.
just need to stop
like,
playing with Gav.
it's got to be it, right? Like I swear to God, he is attempting to get me to quit the game. Like he did it again. He jumped out of the car while I was driving again. I cannot believe, like it wasn't a one-time thing, right? But jumping out of a moving car accidentally without being tricked into pressing F the horn button, which is still one of the greatest pranks I've ever seen. My favorite fucking video. Yeah. Pressing it accidentally by accident, just sort of goofing, right? That's not a one-time thing. That's a zero-time thing, right? For Squirrel, it's a two-time. He's done it twice. Holy shit. Inexplicable. Holy fuck. Out of control. Anyway. But yeah. Having fun. What I enjoyed the most is on our Discord, we will just have if we've got 4 people, just join. We've been splitting teams out and having multiple duos, or having 2 teams of 3. We had a showdown in Cow on Sandhawk. Who was that? That was you and me, was it? Or was it me and Kleb, and were you there for 3v3 in Cow?
Okay, I don't know.
I think it was me, Kleb, and Heath versus Squirrel, Drew, and Zio. Maybe. I don't know. But there was another one where it was you, me, and Heath versus, must have been Kleb, Drew, and Squirrel. Because I blapped Squirrel. Maybe it was Zio instead of Kleb. But yeah, blapped Squirrel because he was looting in my house. It was just like, yeah, I'll just go loot. Right? Inexplicable. And then we exited the town, and we saw them getting run up on by another team, and we couldn't get a line on Drew and whoever the third was, Zio or Kleb. But we could see this other team, so we shot the other team. We were like their guardian angels, saving them from this other team. But it was really just postponing their demise at our hands. We were basically just, hey, no, other team, you don't get to kill them. We're the ones who are going to kill them. And unfortunately, we did not get to kill them because of the way the circle fucked us. But anyway, it was pretty entertaining. Yeah, we've had 2 teams of 4, I think, so far.
Yeah.
It's good. Yeah, we just make room.
Yeah.
Good fun.
Yeah. I'm just looking at my stats. In 2018 when we were playing, we went through a phase where my win percentage was 29% with a kill death ratio of 4.7.
Damn.
I don't think we're ever going to get back to that spot.
Probably not.
But you look at it now. Sorry?
How are you looking at that?
Oh, the PUBG .op.gg, the stats.
Right.
You can look through seasons. So back when this started tracking stats, we played, this is 123 games, 28.5% win ratio on squads. Duo, my win ratio was 27%. Kill death ratio is still pretty high, it's above 4. Whereas now, trying to get back into it, my kill death ratio is 2.3 with a win percentage of 10%. We're in the top 10, 70% of the time. It's just fighting those last couple of teams we need to get back to. I don't think we're ever going to get back to a 30% win ratio unless we keep fucking playing a lot. Another 1,000 hours or 800 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's how much we played it back then. But yeah, I'm still getting used to those guns, and I'm feeling good with the M4 now. I'm able to do stuff with that. AK feels good again, and that's all I can run around with at this point.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, There you go.
We had that win last night with Kleb and Heath.
Was that the
That
one
was pretty
down at the
good.
school? Yeah.
At the school, we should have lost that so hard. Holy fuck. Me and Heath drove up to this building and we just got fucking... Well, Heath got hammered. I managed to get inside, but Heath got fucking downed. And they threw C4 down. C4 is an addition I haven't seen much of, but Luke loves. Anytime he sees C4, he picks it up and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to use C4." And all I can think of is, no, please don't stop it. I don't know how it works, but it seems to hurt me every single time it's deployed.
Blow my ears out. Because it's fucking loud. Like, PUBG is the loudest game you've ever played. And then you put C4 in there and you're like, holy shit.
Why? Is this some sort of like, is PUBG like by big hearing aid or some shit? They're like, we want to deafen as many people as possible to force them to get fucking hearing aids. But anyway, they threw C4 down at us. We're hiding under these stairs. I hear the fucking C4 beeping. I'm like, Heath, you gotta fucking crawl away, and he like crawls as far away as he can. The C4 still hits both of us. It does half damage to me. It nearly takes Heath out, but I managed to get him back up. We both heal up. We're both stuck in this fucking house. You guys are sniping them up on the roof, making noise while we're like crawling up, crouch walking up these stairs. Heath has some theory about if you crouch and press walk and lean at the same time, then you can't be heard while walking.
Okay.
But I don't know. I don't know if there's anything to that. I was trying it as much as I could, but it was a weird button combination. You holding C and control and then Q and then W.
F12.
Fucking, I've only got so many fingers. But yeah, we get up the top and we engage with these dudes. Drop one. They throw everything to try to stop us from flushing. And yeah, they managed to work. They're holding us on this stairwell. Another team comes in. And I swear to God, I think if this other team hadn't come in, we might have been in trouble. But one of the other players, he's in full ghillie. He managed to down me. Heath claps him before he can get the finish. This dude thirsts on the stairs, and because he's thirsting, Heath just fucking blaps him. I heal up. You guys at that moment come in and blap his teammate, so Heath doesn't finish that guy. And yeah, he dies. The dude's on the fucking stairs. There's only two of them upstairs left. And yeah, you guys managed to like simultaneously. I actually watched the replay on this shit because I was looking for the replay of me saving Heath's life. So I watched the replay on this shit, and you guys, like you and Kleb, literally at the same time, like some Rainbow Six shit, just fucking open a door and fucking blap both of them at the exact same fucking time. They just fucking crumple dead because they were trying to see us. They were looking for us, me and Heath, down the other end. From there, like all that's left is to kill everyone else in the fucking server. I managed to get an AWM off Gilly Boy, who downed me. And yeah, I actually had a fucking good one with the old AWM. I had a fucking decent run. I only had a 6x on it. Couldn't find any better scopes. I thought someone would have an 8x, but nothing. Watching the replay back, I only missed 2 shots out of the 20 that I took. But one was on a dude who had a full level 3 helmet. And so it took him to a B's dick of health, and he managed to live. I thought I missed, but no, he managed to live because I fucked up his helmet. Everyone else, almost every other shot I hit. The key one, the one that worked, that may have actually saved us, was this dude and me counter sniping at one another. And then I'm like, hang on, no, Joab, okay, neither of you hit each other, but you have an AWM. put your fucking cursor where he's going to put his head out again. Let him hit you and just wait. And that's basically what I did. He leaned out. He hit me in the chest. And I just fucking aimed down the sights, waited for him to come out again, and then blapped him. It didn't fucking matter because I know the AWM is going to get the one-shot kill on the head, or at least the down. And yeah, that was it. And then the final dude had like just gone. He was hiding behind crates. So one of the things on Tago is it drops like 15 fucking crates for some reason. I have no idea why. But he's like lying down behind these fucking crates. He was on a sliver of fucking health after I jumped him, or after so he was already pretty low. I run up on him, but I didn't know which fucking box he was behind. And so I'm looking, and then I see him, and I only got one bullet into him before he downed me. And then you like lobbed a fucking nade, and it bounced off a box behind him and rolled basically underneath him, and he was dead, and we won the game. Good stuff. That was pretty. That was good.
I thought we were going to be in trouble when we got to, because I left the school and went down further because there were two guys, or there was a team at the wall shooting you guys or something. And so I was trying to get over there to shoot them, and so I'm firing on these guys, and they're firing back at me, and we need to run in. And there's one rock, like one big fucking rock as cover that's in, and I'm like, we're done. Like we're so done. We've got teams everywhere, and there's all of us behind this one rock, and we managed to take out the guys to our south, the sort of like southeast-ish, I guess, and then the circle moves again, and it's like in the middle, and I'm like, we get to a point where there's like all of us are up, and there's, I don't know, like 3 people left, and I'm like, we just have to run out and just shoot people, like just take the shots, because that's the only way we're gonna get them. And we ended up like getting the guys on the right hand side of us, and then we got the guy behind the rock, and then that was it. It was like, all right, we got this. This is easy.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, so that was like one of our last games. I think we played last night. All right, there you go. PUBG, it's back for the moment. We're still playing it. Servers popping if people want to jump back in, which is good. All right, let's do some news. We've got here, Microsoft is buying Activision Blizzard. What the fuck?
Yeah,
I think we can talk about this every week from now
on. For like forever.
Just
the rest of eternity.
Bring it up.
Yeah.
We've got a couple more details coming through this week. This is obviously for the massive $68 billion deal that they've done. This news in particular is about Call of Duty. They had some information come out recently saying that Microsoft will be working with PlayStation on at least the next 3 Call of Duty games. So this year it'll be Modern Warfare 2, I guess. The stupid naming convention we're going with now. The sequel to Modern Warfare, the reboot, or whatever you want to call it. And then the next game for next year, the next Treyarch game. And then after that will be Warzone 2, which will be entirely current gen and PC only. And so they're the next 3 that they've got under contract to be on PlayStation. No idea what happens after that, but we were talking about this last week, like what happens to Call of Duty. I think the smart decision with this is to keep it, just keep it. I don't think you pick up that series and take it off of PlayStation. I mean, they may do it eventually. It's that I think the one case where this does happen is if Call of Duty turns into a game where it's out every 3 years. Then maybe that is something where it's only an Xbox exclusive. But as a yearly sort of annual franchise, I don't think you take it away. It just makes too much money on that platform.
You just wouldn't. You absolutely wouldn't. But adding Call of Duty to Game Pass, I think that's enough. Honestly, I think it's enough to make it worth the purchase.
To bring people over.
Yeah, that's enough to. It's not exclusive, but it doesn't need to be exclusive, right? If all you do is incentivize people to buy into Game Pass. That's what they're about. That's the Microsoft business model.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's enough.
So yeah, not really surprising news here. I think I guess the 3 Call of Duty games have leaked a little bit. Like this Call of Duty Warzone 2 stuff. Some more information's sort of come out about that, talking about like the way they're going to handle that game. And I think they're smart decisions. Stuff that really sort of put me off in terms of Warzone was the annualization of Warzone integrating with whatever they were doing that year. And so like having to implement all of these weapons or new gadgets and things like that into the current Warzone just, I felt like, become a mess. And I would say from a design standpoint, having to balance all that stuff is probably a massive mess. I think it just becomes a problem, right? And that's where it kind of lost me quite a bit, is having to learn all these, like, all right, we're adding 30 new weapons into the game and all this other stuff. And you're like, all right, good luck balancing this stuff. And it sounds like that they're going to be going away from that this next Warzone game will be a standalone thing, and hopefully they just focus on like, all right, this is our game. It's got nothing to do with our Call of Duty that comes out every year, and we're just going to make this its own separate thing. And I think that's the best decision that they could have made, which is smart. I don't know. What do you think?
No, I think that's basically how they've got to approach it. It's just, I don't know. Like, is there? I know they haven't promised to stay the course, but I think there's sort of a unspoken agreement that they will, and I wonder how people react when they finally do move on. I'm going to be interested to see how people will react to that.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, I don't know. I think they've gotten a bunch more years out of it than they normally would out of a Call of Duty game, but I don't think setting the bar super low means that hopping over it easily makes something good, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Any other stuff that's sort of come out from this Activision, Blizzard, Microsoft stuff that you want to mention? I can't really remember off the top of my head.
Testers at Raven formed a union, and Activision has sort of just ignored it. So that's not good.
No.
Or if they didn't ignore it, they sort of like they've folded the QA department into a bunch of different departments to try to split them up and stuff, which is just it's all a big mess. I don't understand how it they're just so actively shitty towards, like, they know their QA testers are real people. It's just so shitty. Yeah.
So yeah, on top of that, continuing on, Blizzard has announced that they're working on a brand new survival game in a new universe. That's pretty much all we know at that point. They're looking at people to come and join the team. I wonder if this is the type of thing where they needed to start announcing this stuff, because it'll probably be out in the open at some stage soon with this Microsoft acquisition coming out. So they're just like, all right, it sounds pretty early from what they've written here.
It does seem that. Yeah, it seems real early.
Yeah. Anyway, so we'll see. So yeah, brand new. I don't know, like,
it's not so much announced as sort of just hiring.
Yeah, hiring for stuff. Because this sort of happened when Diablo 4 was announced, right? Like, they were hiring for a Diablo game, but they didn't announce Diablo. It's like, we're working on the next thing, but just like, I guess just trying to get in front of it to be like, hey, this is what we're doing. It's a survival game. Because, you know, they want to hire people, right? And be like, hey, we're looking for designers and we're working on these skills, like, have you done survival games? And then people dig into that and like, hey, it looks like Blizzard's making a survival game because they're hiring people for
Yeah.
these types of skill sets. So jumping out in front of that is probably a smart decision. And this game may never come out. Who knows? But like, would you be interested in a Blizzard style survival game at this point? Like, what does that sort of look like? I don't know.
I mean, I love survival games, so I'd definitely be interested. I'm apprehensive of what Blizzard has become, so I guess I'd be, cautious, but cautiously optimistic. I think they've got some worlds where they could create some really interesting, games based on what they've already made. I think personally, I'd prefer it be in one of my favorite Blizzard franchises.
Right.
Diablo
StarCraft.
or Warcraft or StarCraft. I think a StarCraft
Overwatch.
survival game would be fucking cool. I'd be less thrilled for Overwatch one, but I'd still play it.
Hey,
Still give it a run.
A first-person StarCraft game, like
Do it.
Battlefield.
Do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
All right, there you go.
What about a survival game, right? Where you're just a dude. You're like a fucking worker orc in Warcraft. Like zug zug, and you go fucking chop down trees, and that's what you do.
I mean, that is it.
Trees.
Yeah,
it's a survival game staple. Do it.
Right, now I'm in. Next up, we got Respawn, the creators of games such as Apex Legends or Jedi Fallen Order, have announced they're working on 3 Star Wars titles currently. So the sequel to Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, a first-person Star Wars game, and a strategy game. Respawn is a Star Wars team now, it sounds like.
They make Star... Well, yeah, they sort of... They're the only ones they can trust, right? But I guess also making Star Wars products requires a certain amount of corporate management, and Respawn has a knack for it. So they exhibited a knack for it with Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and so it's one of those things where once you've done it well once, maybe you go back to that well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited to see
what it is.
Another Jedi Fallen Order game.
Yep.
If they don't make... What were you going to say?
I was going to say another Republic Commando game. Is that what it's going to be?
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. If they don't make a fucking another Republic Commando game, then they're out of their fucking minds. That should be the first-person shooter. And a strategy game. I don't fucking know. Dude, yes. Yes, they can do Generals too, but in Star Wars. Right? Because they don't have to dance around the fact that they can't have the fucking GLA, right? Because they're hideously racist. They could just have Generals mechanics, but in Star Wars, just have like they're fighting over fucking Alderaan or some shit. Have the fucking fish people show up. Fucking Jar Jar Binks can be a general or some shit. It's genius.
Yeah,
we just did it. We've done it. It's done. Make it so.
Make it so. Haven't,
as they say in Star Wars. Make it so.
Your favorite Star game. All right, next up we got Crytek announces Crysis 4. This was late last night, I think it come through.
Yeah.
Just a little teaser trailer. That is, I feel like all we got, right? I don't know. There's no gameplay footage, nothing like that. Just a trailer.
Yeah.
I don't know. Does Crysis sort of get people excited anymore?
I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't care. I don't know. It just doesn't. It's not really fucking rocking my boat, I guess. I think by 3, the series has gotten pretty uninteresting to me. So, what about you? What do you think?
I mean, I'll wait and see. I think after that remaster, they've sort of lost a bit of their their goodwill, I guess. We'll see
Yeah.
what happens, with this next one, with their brand new game as opposed to what they put out last time, because it didn't go over pretty well. I mean, at least they sort of held it back and worked on it a bit more. They got there eventually.
Cool.
But I don't know what a Crysis game looks like. I want to see the gameplay before I start judging it, which is probably, I don't know. I'm guessing they'll probably see something soon if they're announcing it, sort of teasing it now. Or maybe it'll be like a thing where we have to wait until like June-ish, somewhere around there.
Yeah, probably.
All right, next up, and the last piece of news we got here, Elden Ring is coming out. It has gone gold. It is here soon, real soon.
Which is interesting because there was Dark Souls has gone offline.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's come back online. And there's a pretty significant security flaw with the online portion of the Souls games, not just Dark Souls, but 2, 3, remastered, all suffer from a pretty significant security flaw, and data miners of of Elden Ring have found the same flaw there. So there's a chance. I thought we might wind up seeing a fucking delay as a result, but it doesn't appear to have been the case. The servers, I think, are still down.
Yeah, I mean they did a patch, right? An unofficial patch a couple days ago.
Yeah.
So maybe it's
I think it's still down.
The process of cert, the proper one.
Yeah. Could be.
Yeah.
But if it was an easy fix, then it won't affect Elden Ring too much. I'm still extremely excited for Elden Ring. Very keen to play it sooner rather than later. Don't know when that's going to be, but yeah. Hopefully this problem won't impact it too much.
No. All right, there you go. That is the news for this week. Let's wrap things up here. Do we have any questions that have been sent through?
We do have questions. A bunch of questions. Yes. Okay. Fridge Monster Man writes, "Hi Luke, hi Joab. Do games journalists or reviewers have a responsibility or obligation to push back against bad practices in the games industry? Thinking of aggressive, predatory microtransactions, loot boxes, NFTs, and workplace culture things like crunch and abuse. Do critics and journalists have a responsibility or obligation to push back against bad practices in the games industry?" Luke, what do you reckon?
It's a tricky line to draw, right? Because I'm not going into a what can we give as an example? I don't know, and I haven't reviewed one lately, like an Activision Blizzard game, right? The Call of Duty, and give it a 1 because of the way they've been treating their staff. I don't know. I just don't. I don't think the right way to go about it.
It's like saying games journalists or reviewers / critics, right, is interesting because I think journalists do, and I think critics do not. Microtransactions, aggressive predatory microtransactions or loot boxes, when they impact the gameplay, then I think critics have a responsibility.
I've done that in the past.
To talk about, you have.
Particular NBA 2K. I mean, we've gotten to a point now where we don't get code for NBA 2K. They just don't send it out anymore.
Even though nobody likes basketball in the Australian games media more than us, it just doesn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, they basically send it out when the game gets released. At this point, like they don't do that. Game sells. It doesn't need people to critique it. So
yeah, which is a shame because that's not the function of criticism. But yeah, they just wield it that way. If NFTs were to impact the gameplay, then similarly, I think critics would have a responsibility. But workplace culture, like crunch and abuse, I personally do not think it should enter into the conversation about game
Quality.
criticism.
Yeah.
Because you are talking about the game itself. And if anything, it is your responsibility as a games critic to critique the work that was done. And I think people who have been subjected to crunch and abuse would not like it if you were to critically analyze their work based on the experience they had while working. Because they want, or you presume everyone wants an analysis of their output, not of the fucking process involved, unless obviously well, that's what the journalists do. So yeah, it is a tricky one. Journalists, yes, absolutely. Critics, sometimes, depending if it impacts the game itself, I think.
Right.
Yeah. But there are other methods in which you can push back. I mean, I stopped playing Warzone because I don't agree with what ActiBliz has been up to. And it feels gross to support that. Even with just, loading into the game, which sucks because I've been looking for a battle royale and now I've got to go back to fucking PUBG. God damn it. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the deal, right? That's the situation. There are ways that it happens, and there's also unseen, unspoken, unknown ways that these bad practices can impact critical analysis. Because at the end of the day, everything we do, everything we know and see and say and feel, it impacts our critical analysis. So,
And then there's the other case of, it happens sometimes. Generally when we're getting stuff for pre-release, we're signing some sort of NDA. Most of the time, not often. Most of the time it is. Sometimes there isn't. Sometimes they're just like whatever. And occasionally there'll be things in there talking about stuff we can't talk about, whether it's story points or. Usually it's story points. What was the big one? Would have been the last big one was The Last of Us, maybe last big game. Like not talking about the second half of that game.
Ridiculous. Yes.
Yeah, and like there are points where you can push back on that sort of thing. Did we talk about it on here? Like the NDA EA tried to get us to sign for Battlefield. Like we pushed back on that one.
I don't think we did.
No, like they had stuff in their NDA for that, and we basically went back to them. It was for the review and was like, I'm not signing this. Like you need to fix your wording in this. It was talking about things like not being able to record gameplay footage and take screenshots, and you couldn't record certain sections of the game. And I think I sent it to you guys and was like, does this say we can't record footage during our review? Like that's a bit weird, right? And so we pushed back on that, sent it back to them and said, I'm not signing this. You guys need to fix your wording. And they were basically saying like, oh no, we don't mean it like that. And I'm like, it says we can't do it. Like you need to fix it. And so we eventually got them to sort it out. But like tricky shit like that is like some people just don't pick it up and they'll just completely miss it, and it can come back and bite you in the ass. Like Nintendo is another one. I'm gladly talk about the shit Nintendo puts media through. Like I'm at a point where I don't think media should cover their games anymore. They're such a shit company to work with. They are horrendous. They are probably the worst company to work with if you're trying to write anything about their stuff. They're also trash to their fans. Like the things they do, taking down YouTube videos and trying to demonetize people for just doing anything creative. They've been a nightmare to work with in media for a long time now. something happened and they just completely changed. Like they've got stuff in their NDAs now that will be like, we'll fine you like thousands of dollars, like
$10,000. I think
$10,000 if like you break this embargo, if you say something you shouldn't have. And it's like, all right, well maybe I just won't talk about your shit anymore because, and that I haven't talked about Nintendo stuff for ages because I just don't play any of their things anymore. But also because they don't send out code to anyone unless they're super selective on who they send their things out to. I just think we're at a point where people shouldn't cover their games anymore because they're terrible to work with, and the things they try and get away with to try and limit people from talking about their stuff and threatening like media with these ridiculous fines if they say something they shouldn't, it is horseshit. So yeah, it's shit. So I don't know. I'm at a point where I'm not interested in playing Nintendo games anymore. I haven't played my Switch for fucking yonks.
Yeah.
And I don't know why people don't stand up to them in the media and just say, we're not reviewing your shit anymore. Like, what's that? That game came out, is it tomorrow? Friday. This new Pokemon game, right? Pokemon
Legends.
Arceus. Right?
Yep.
There are currently, let me try and find it. I don't have that up at the moment. There wasn't a lot of reviews up when I first looked this morning. There was like a handful, like 20 or something globally.
Yeah.
That's insane to me. There's 36 on OpenCritic right now.
Yeah.
Which is like for Nintendo's probably biggest game, one of Nintendo's biggest games of this year.
It's because they know it's not good. They're limiting it to the people who are
highly weighted.
Love it.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I just don't like their practices, what they've done. They used to be good to work with, and now they're just terrible.
Yeah, because they think they're too big to fail.
Yeah. All right, cool. Good question.
Good question.
Monster Man.
The questions continue. Nice Nico writes, Dear The Gap, I have a few questions for you. Do you like Vegemite? I assume as Aussies you do. Is that racist? Have you tried Marmite? And if you have, what did you think? Having tried both, I could say Marmite shits all over Vegemite. The latter has a chemical-like aftertaste that is very off-putting, whereas Marmite is just a deep, salty goodness. Slather it all over some good toast and butter. You're on to a real winner. Anyway, thanks for all the great podcasts. Lots of love. Nick. Luke, do you like Vegemite?
No.
You don't like Vegemite?
No, it's terrible.
Is this because you spent 2 years in San Francisco and now you think you're better than fucking Vegemite, motherfucker?
Yeah, pretty much.
You fucking dog. Have you tried Marmite?
No.
All right.
Is Marmite's is it the UK one?
Yeah, it is, yes.
Right. Okay, no, I'm not.
I do like Vegemites, and I have tried Marmites. And I've tried Promite, which is Dick Smith's knockoff. And if I had to rank them, I would go Vegemite, Marmite, and then some blank spaces, and then Promite. Because Promite's the worst. Vegemite, Marmite definitely tastes different. I'll agree with you there. I do not think Vegemite is chemically tasting, but it's definitely different. There's, I think they're both an acquired taste, but they're both basically umami spread, right? Which is, just is it the fifth flavor? There's sweet, there's sour, there's bitter, there's something else, and then there's umami. Anyway, there's the flavors, and Vegemite, Marmite, they're just different styles of umami-ness. You can use either one to, like, you see it a bit, right? Because they talk about these umami bombs when you're reading recipes for stuff, right? And they're like, add fish sauce, right? Fish sauce is actually fucking awesome. But if you accidentally go even a little bit overboard with it, and if you do it too late in the piece, it has an overpowering like even just a couple of drips of fish sauce, it can be way too much. Soy sauce has a bit of that flavor. Tomato paste generally works because there's a concentration to it. What's the other one? Worcestershire sauce, however the fuck you say it. Worcestershire. Worcestershire sauce. Another umami. Interestingly, fish sauce, Worcestershire, both made of fucking anchovies. Just fucking condensed anchovies in a sauce. Anyway, Vegemite is a good one to add. Because or Marmite, I suppose. Because they're just umami. They're just a fuck ton of umami flavor. I don't really have like my wife loves Vegemite, so I think we go with Vegemite.
My
wife.
I gotcha. Got him.
You fucking burned me. And Marmite's pretty hard to find here. At least Promite's gone forever. That's all that matters. Anyway, you maybe also I think you spread Marmite thicker than you're supposed to spread Vegemite, and if you do Vegemite the way you spread Marmite, you're in for a bad time. Because you're supposed to use like just enough to spread on your toast.
Yeah.
Of Vegemite and Marmite. I've seen people go fucking ham with that shit. Like they're doing peanut butter or some shit. You do not do Vegemite that way. Unless you want to fuck your life up.
Yeah.
Good question, Nick. Yeah. Good stuff. Krusty Raven writes, we got another question. You know who else likes salty goodness? I believe the unspoken answer there is your mum. And that segues to my next question. Anyone salty about outlaying actual hard-earned money green for a game, and what was that game? Cheers for the laughs while driving to and from work. Outlaying hard-earned money or green for a game, and what was the game? When was the last time I was mad that I paid money for a game? Wasn't thrilled that I paid money for fucking 6 Inches Under, considering it's 10 hours long. I felt a little bit fucking miffed about it, but generally I'm able to recognize whether or not I'm going to be fucking mad about something before the 2-hour window closes. So I'm able to fucking bail before the point of no return, and I can still do my Steam refund. Usually pretty good with that stuff. If I had purchased Battlefield 2042, I would be salty as fuck. I'm salty as fuck, and I didn't lay out hard-earned money for that game. So I can't even imagine how I'd feel if I had. What about you, Luke? When was the last time you were mad? Paid money for a game?
Haven't gotten super mad. I like the last 2 games I've refunded on Steam were Mini Motorways and Paradise Killer.
Oh yeah,
was probably the 2. But I generally don't I buy a lot of shit on Steam, like a stupid amount of stuff on Steam. But also get a lot of keys as well. I don't generally like refund games on Steam. I think I'd say I've refunded less than maybe 5 games on Steam at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. Like I don't generally get angry with stuff I've bought. Like the last bunch of games that I've reviewed online is stuff I haven't bought that I've given bad scores. So I've been lucky in terms of that.
Too true. Yeah. I guess we're in a fortunate position where we can play bad games without having to pay for them necessarily.
Yeah. Not like I don't recall the last time I've refunded like a, $80 game, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a pretty good nose for when something like that's gonna crash and burn.
And generally, like I'm playing that sort of stuff for a lot longer than the limitation of being able to refund it.
Too true. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. There you go.
Good stuff. Krusty. Good questions. A bunch of good questions. How good is it? I love it.
Yeah. Was that
And
it?
I guess that is the podcast.
That is a podcast. Anything you'd like to plug for this week you've been working on or give a shout out to?
Stay tuned to my Twitter or our Discord for a really dumb video.
Yeah.
Really dumb. I'm already proud of it, and it's not quite finished. I've got to capture a little bit more footage. But yeah, it's PUBG related, and it's really dumb. Anyway,
All right.
what about you, Luke?
I will give a shout out to Lego. I built some Lego over the weekend while we were listening to the Hottest 100. We built a 2 Star Wars things and a like architect one. So they were the Darth Vader helmet was like 850 pieces, and I think the Boba Fett one like 700.
Yep.
Spent a couple hours doing that. It's the first time I built like a proper Lego set. It's just not like when you're a child and it's just a bunch of blocks.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like it's full on like his 800 pieces, or at least this particular set we got. And it's like a book, and you just flick through books and it shows you where pieces go. Yeah, it's really cool. The problem with that stuff is I've got nowhere to put any of this shit, so
yeah.
That's the biggest problem I have.
Your extremely bare looking office couldn't get a fucking bookshelf or some shit?
Well, no, when my stuff eventually arrives,
has your stuff still not arrived?
No, it hasn't left yet. Still
hasn't left.
Yeah.
Holy fuck! That stuff's gone, man. It's gone. Let it go. File for insurance.
We got an update this week that says they've packed the shipping container or packed the boat and it's ready to leave either today or tomorrow or something like that. And we'll get an update. So eventually it'll come. But no, once our stuff does arrive, I feel like half of it's going to end up on Gumtree because we've got no room for it anymore. We've had to buy a bunch of new shit. But yeah, this room will eventually get filled up of all the other stuff that I've got already. And I don't know, man. Maybe I'll have room, but like the stupid like big Star Wars stuff or the big Lego sets that you get, like that are a dumb amount of numbers. Like the one we bought, the two that we bought were like, I think they were like $70 or something like that, $60.
Yeah.
Like small ones, right? It took a couple of hours to put together. But like the big stupid ones that are enormous, they're the ones where you're like, oh, where am I going to put this thing? I need a room for. Like I'd love to do it, but at least with a jigsaw puzzle, it's a couple thousand pieces, and it's a thin piece of sort of cardboard, and you can put it somewhere, which is easy. Or you can just break them back up and put them back in a box.
You see, Fridge Monster Man was sharing. He's got like just a full fucking glass display cabinet.
Right.
It's just chockers with Lego.
Yeah.
And if you go over to Nate's house, it's pretty similar. He's got that shit's fucking everywhere. He's got multiple.
Yeah. No, it's really good. I highly recommend it. It's really well done. They've got like an app for it as well, which you can
an app.
Yeah, there's instructions on the app. It shows you like the new stuff that is coming out or stuff that is going into like retirement.
Retirement.
Well, they like retire Lego sets. I guess they're always coming out with new ones.
All right.
Right. Yeah.
I guess
I make this stuff. So yeah, anyway, that stuff's really cool. I enjoy it. All right, there you go. That is the show. You can find us on iTunes, Android, Windows Store, Spotify, YouTube, all the places you get podcasts from. You can find us on Discord, thegapodcast.com/Discord. You can jump in there, talk about all things Wordle related, video games, movies, food. You can play games as well. Jump in and check that out. Really good fun on there. You can go to our social media, facebook.com/GApodcast, twitter.com/GApodcast. You can go to our website, thegapodcast.com. It's got links to all those things we just talked about, including past episodes of the show. If you want to go listen to the Game of the Year extravaganza, maybe you missed it, it's on there. Go check that one out. We've been drinking for most of it.
Very true.
That is all thanks to our Patreon members. If you want to help support this show, you can go to patreon.com/the GA podcast, become a recurring member, and help us out a little bit. It helps us do this show and get it out to everyone else on the internet. So thank you to everyone. It does. We appreciate your support on that one.
We're genuinely grateful. It's fucking awesome. Thank you so much.
All right, that is it. You can find me twitter.com/Luke Lawrie, Lawrie. Joab is Joby Jojo on the internet. And what's out next week, Joe? Something's out next week, right?
I think so.
Next week is Dying Light 2.
We should have played that. I
hope so.
Fucking
shit, maybe we won't. We'll see. Hopefully we can talk about that next week. And that's when there's a few more things coming out, which we'll talk about at some stage eventually.
Very true.
But
yes.
Hey, there you go. Podcast done. A lot shorter than last week. Thanks everyone listening. We'll see you next week.
Love you. Bye.